Welcome back, fish heads, to Waterbox Live. We appreciate y'all being here. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, turn on those notifications.
Don't want to miss a thing. We're here twice a week right now. Today we are talking about reef tanks, dosing, testing, and using the Versa. So all that stuff that's important whenever you have a reef tank, you start getting more corals in there, and how to kind of like start the process, know what to dose, and how to get it going.
Yeah, it certainly becomes crucial when you have a tank this large that's full of coral.
Yes, so I've been hand dosing every day so far, and since we started putting corals in, I'm ready for it to be automated because it's starting to be more and more dosing.
Yeah.
And it's just better overall for the tank for it to be consistently dosed that way. So it is time for the LX to get its own Versa.
It is.
It is.
It's looking good. Tank is looking quite beautiful.
Yes.
We have some stuff we're giving away today. We're giving away a $100 gift card, as well as some swag from Living Reef.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Living Reef shirt. Then, of course, $100 gift card. Got to be active in the comments, ask questions, answer questions, just chit chat.
You have to become friends.
Be friends.
Yes, you got to be friends. You got to talk about what you're having for lunch today. Talk about what time zone you're in. It's all good.
What kind of tank you got? Make friends. So there'll be $100 gift card that we'll give away at the end of this stream, and then also Living Reef T-shirt.
Yes.
As well with the Living Reef T-shirt is during this LX build, we've got a coupon code from them. They're running it this whole time, which is awesome. 10% off of livestock, and that's corals and inverts. They ship all over the U.S. So just enter code WBLX320 at checkout and check out the stuff they have. It's beautiful and a lot of variety.
Yeah, take advantage of that code, you guys.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, we have a major giveaway going on during this build series. We're giving away a Reef LX 190.4.
Ah, beautiful.
Huge giveaway. You're going to head over to waterboxaquariums.com/huge to sign up for that. It's real simple. Once you get over there, you're going to put your email address in. You're going to then have a number of opportunities to get more entries. So you don't just get one entry, you can get hundreds if you want. So you're going to fill out your information. There's going to be a number of different ways. You can buy swag. You can follow Living Reef on Instagram. You can follow Waterbox on Instagram. And then we're going to give you a bonus entry code every week here live. We've given away a number already. This page here also gives you the full rundown on all the episodes thus far.
Yeah, definitely want to check those out. Everything about setting up an aquarium from beginning all the way through. You also will see all of the corals and stuff that have gone into the LX from Living Reef. And on their website too, they do have a tab that has a lot of these similar corals in there for you to find and purchase. So you can see all the stuff that's gone into there. And a lot of stuff from our previous Dream Build 220 at the office also moved into the LX. So it's got a good amount of coral in there. We're on week. What week are we on? 18? I think 18? 19.
19. How many weeks we got left? 2?
3.
This is
two.
Two after this.
Yeah, so 2 more after this. And so you figure that the tank's been up a couple months, got a good amount of corals and stuff in there. So our uptake has been pretty decent on like the calcium, alkalinity, all of that. Been dosing and testing regularly to get kind of a stable set numbers. And that way, once you get it kind of dialed in, you don't have to test as regularly because you have a pretty good baseline of what your uptake is. And then you're going to adjust a little bit as you go. So I'm going to show you kind of what I've done. So like over the last 30, 45 days, just been testing at regular intervals and adjusting dosing and kind of seeing where we're at with that. And that's going to give you a good solid knowing that, hey, if I dose this, and I might have a small increments have to change here or there, and that's going to be about it. So got kind of our breakdown of what our levels and testing have been over the last month and a half.
Where is that? What are you trying to show?
The slides.
The slides, okay.
And on the as you go to you guys, as your tanks, using up more of these trace elements, et cetera, and your tank becomes more mature and you're testing more often, you're kind of like become in tune with your tank, and you'll really understand.
It gets easier as it stabilizes and goes, it gets older and more mature and stuff like that. So back to slides,
Okay, let's go.
All right, so how much do I dose? You don't want to just start blindly dosing. You do need to have some kind of baseline and testing to see where I could easily screw things up way worse than not dosing if you overdose.
Right.
So here we have alkalinity. This is the most important parameter to keep stable. If it's fluctuating a lot, then it is going to be very stressful for your corals. Soft corals will handle it, relatively well, but LPS to SPS is going to affect them a lot more. So you'll see all the way back end of July. That was our first testing point. 7.8 is where it stayed. And then what I did is 2 days later I tested to see what the daily drop was going to be and started dosing off of that, and I was way off and dosed too much. So you'll just see as it goes, as you've kind of increased or decreased the dosing depending on what it is. You'll see first it was every couple days, then it was a week apart, and now we're at about every 2 weeks testing, and it's sitting pretty stable. Where we want it to be. So our end dosing right now is 18 milliliters of alkalinity a day. And then what it'll be pretty much every 2 weeks, we'll probably just test it again and just adjust it as needed as more corals grow in and grow. But it gives you a good point where you know that that's going to keep you within a healthy range.
What's your target, around 8?
8 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a mixed reef, it doesn't have to be really anywhere in between there. As long as it's pretty stable, it's fine. Calcium, you wanted this between 420 and 480. This is what they use to build their skeleton for LPS and SPS. And it doesn't have to be that dead on constant. As long as it's within range, it can jump around a bit. It's not as tedious as far as keeping it there as alkalinity is. So same thing, end of July, there's my starting point. Started a little bit high, let it drop. Started dosing again after it dropped down a bit. Dosed too much, went back up. Yeah. And right now I'm actually going to not dose it for a whole week and let it kind of come down a little bit more into the mid 400s and then see what it needs daily from there.
There's not a whole lot of calcium uptake right now in the system, it seems.
No, it's not. I mean, there's less opties and small LPS. The main thing is with our water changes, is we put in that calcium in. It's not being used as regularly. So I haven't seen that it has really fluctuated too much that it's going to need much dosing at all.
Yeah, and just so for you guys watching, just as Jess is doing here, logging these parameters and what she dosed, et cetera, it's really a good idea to keep track of these things at home as well.
Yeah, you definitely want to, because then you can kind of see a thing, or if you say, oh man, something happened in the tank, you can kind of look back and say, oh, this is when my alkalinity jumped up too high or too low or something. So our next one, of course, is magnesium. I think magnesium gets overlooked by a lot of people and don't think that they need to dose it or test it. But if your magnesium's not in the right level, your calcium is not going to be used by your coral appropriately. So if your magnesium is too low, then your calcium can't be used by your coral. So it is a very important one. I feel like it gets overlooked way too much.
Yeah, certainly.
And here, I'm actually working to get my calcium up more, because right now we're at 1200, which in general equals only 400 usable calcium.
Yeah.
So it's not really in the range we want it to. So I really want to bring up that magnesium closer to 13 to 1400. And I've increased my dosing up to 50 milliliters of magnesium a day. You'll find magnesium takes a lot of solution to bring it up. Yeah. You'll be like, how am I dosing 50 milliliters and it's moving nowhere? Yeah. So just be used to that. It's one of those things you'll see in all of these is I've kind of gone to every 2 week dosing, every 2 to 3 weeks with magnesium, calcium, because it's not as vital to be consistent as long as it's within range. So we're up to 50 mLs of magnesium per day. Going to check that again in a week to see if it's brought it up to around that 1300 or more level. So log it, kind of just keep fine-tune adjusting. Yeah. Start testing kind of every couple days, then once a week, and then kind of keep spreading it out as you see every time you do it, it's more consistent. Because if you go and set up a doser, or you just start dosing, you don't think about it, and you've been dosing for a month and you didn't realize that your dosing is highly too much alkalinity or the other, your tank will have ill effects because it's going to continue to raise that level. Yeah,
like you said, it could be worse than
blind dosing is not good. No.
Don't do it.
As much as testing is not fun, it's one of my personal
some people love it.
least favorite things to do.
Yeah, some people love it. I've always didn't like it very much.
No, I don't. I haven't got the automated one. Like, no, don't like any of it. But it's necessary. So, you know, now that we've got it for a good, you know, 3 months almost, 2 months of testing to see where we need to go. Now it's confident to put it on a doser, kind of let it ride for the most part, and just check it every couple weeks. We're going to set up a Versa.
Cool.
Yes. So
Where are we at?
Where are we at? We have a bonus word.
All right, you guys, we have a bonus word. So if you don't know, every week we give a bonus word that gets you 10 extra entries into the giveaway. So we have that for you right now.
All right, your bonus word. All right, bonus word for this week is EcoTech.
There you go.
All right, perfect.
Head over to waterboxaquariums.com/huge. If you haven't already filled in the information, fill it in. Put that at the very last field. Get you 10 extra entries. And if you want to get the other bonus entry codes, you can go watch the previous weeks.
Yes, there's one dropped in every single week. That's a lot of extra entries that you can have towards this Reef LX.
Definitely.
So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. And of course, we only drop it here in the stream, so you've got to watch them to get that code.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and set up the Versa on the LX, put it on the control board so that it's in place and we can get it programmed, and ran all the tubing. We have a little additive holder. We're going to go ahead and show that over there.
It's looking really good.
So there's a beautiful LX.
Crystal clear, full of color.
It's
looking good.
Yeah. All right, so we got the Versa here. We're using 3 of them. We have the option to add a 4th if we need to at the point, but right now it's calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium is all that we're going to be dosing. So we got that on the control board that's included with your LX models. And so back here in the ATO chamber, since we do have that extra space, is our dosing container. Got my lines coming down here. And then those lines are going into the doser, and the outlines coming here is with the actual additive. And I have it dumping right here into what will be the refugium area, just because it's where it will go right into the main area. And there's right above the water line because you don't want the end of those tubes submerged or anything. So kind of tidied it up, made everything kind of stay out of the way as far as the tubing goes. And of course, those could dump really anywhere in the sump that you wanted to, but that's our easiest point of access right here with all the equipment that's in here.
Now, you guys may have noticed too that we're not using all 4 dosing heads. You can add a 4th to the Versa, which you could do a number of different things with, including auto water changes.
Auto water changes, yeah. Amino acids are a good one.
Yeah.
Liquid coral foods or elements or something would also work well too.
Yeah.
So it's in place. Looks good.
Looks
Got
clean.
everything nice and cleaned up, trying to keep it all organized. There's a lot going on a big reef tank, lots of equipment, lots of cords. So keeping it tidy as you install it does help a lot.
Yeah.
So, and I was going to change it to the black tubing, so it wasn't the blue, but actually matches your plumbing. So it's like
Yeah,
kind of
actually
all
kinda
kind
liked
of
it,
ties
yeah.
into
Yeah.
keeping the blue, which is RODI water tubing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
so it's on there. Now we just have to program it. We're going to show you on the Mobius app how easy it is to set up your Versas and program them to dose what you need. I do love the simplicity of Mobius.
So if you guys don't know, if you don't have EcoTech equipment or AI equipment, Mobius controls everything from the EcoTech lineup. It controls your lights, it controls your return pump, your power heads, and even your doser.
Yeah, so right here in this one app here, you can see, like, I can just go here. Here's my tanks. We've got the Frag and the Reef LX on this because those are all run with the EcoTech equipment. So it's super, you have all your tanks, as many as you have on here. I'm gonna go to the Reef LX. Brings you up to your home screen here. And it's got all these features on the front, but if you look at the bottom, we've got your lighting. You can edit it there. You have your flow button that has our MPs and our Vectra on it. And then we're gonna go back to the home and add a device here with the Versas. And device search, it's going to automatically, when you go to this, look for any devices that are EcoTech that would be compatible with Mobius in your area. It's pulling one Versa extra head from the frag that we don't use in here, but the 3 that we're using start with the 5, 6, 7. All you got to do is check them. Goes to next. It's checking our firmware, make sure it's up to date and ready for it to program. A little bit walks you through everything. Like, you don't have to guess what you're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive. It doesn't really take too much technical know-how to do it. I mean, it walks you through. Even once you get in and you start programming, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it walks you through and lets you kind of choose how simple you want to set it up. And the nice thing with their lighting, their flow, their everything is they have like predetermined configurations that you can do that you don't have to think about it. It's like, hey, this is a good recommendation, or this is a good schedule, or this is good flow patterns, and you can just like, here you go, just set it as it is. So it's starting you out with the from left over is how it's going to do, and right up from the setup is, and you can skip it and go back and do this, but might as well do it at this point. So if you go to additive, so our far left one is going to be alkalinity. For some reason, I always do alkalinity, calcium, magnesium. It's always my flow.
I would have done calcium alk mag for some reason.
Yeah, I always do alcal mag. So I'm going to hit the alkalinity, and it's on smart mode, which means it's going to dose at an overnight period, which is good for your pH because your pH drops at night. You can change it and say, no, I wanted to dose at this time instead. But it's actually very smart because it's going to make sure all 3 of them don't dose at the same time. And alkalinity doses in the time where your lights are usually off, which helps keep your pH buffered. So our alkalinity dosing is 18 milliliters. Done. And it's going to do it over its own course of time. Like, they don't make you want to, you don't have to think about it. So our next one, of course, in the middle is going to be calcium. Daily dosage is 0. Because we're going to skip right now. So it's going to skip in that. I'll go back and adjust it once
you
kind of
it,
drop it down and figure out where we want to go. Last one is magnesium. Just go to here. Now, if you want to do custom, that would let you put in a different name and dosing schedule as well. Magnesium, we're all the way up at 50 right now, trying to get our magnesium to jump up. Hit done and next. So now it's configuring that for you. And our little tiny swirly button at the bottom has your doser on here. And it's going to tell you how much of it has been dosed so far today. So like the alkalinity, of course, they're all at 0. They haven't dosed anything yet.
Yeah.
Something pretty cool that I'm going to end up probably using because I want to jump this. I need to get this magnesium up. And a little bit faster would be better. So if I go into magnesium, and you'll see here the schedule when it's going to go in. That's roughly 4 or 5 something until 11 is when it's going to dose that 50 milliliters over. But the little dropper button here, instant dose. So I'm like, all right, I know every day I need to throw in an extra probably 20, 30 mLs to try and jump it up. I can just go ahead and do this. So I'm going to put 30 mLs in over, I'm going to do maybe like 5 minutes. Done. And then go. So now you hit dose, and that's going to go ahead and put in an extra dose for you. So you don't have to go and drag out any more additive. You say, I need to increase this. It's good for that. So that's a nice feature. Right now you can see it's going to show you as it's dispensing. Nope, wrong button. Right here, it's at 1 milliliter so far, and it's going to track it along as it does the thing. Container volume, you can also fill that and fill that in. It's going to let you know how much longer you have left of your additives before you have to refill your bins.
Now, the container volume, it doesn't track. There's no sensor. It's just estimating, right? So it won't know when you're really empty.
No.
Right?
So yeah, you're putting, say, my cylinder, my dosing container is 500 mLs.
Yeah.
And you fill it to the 500 or 400 mLs or whatever.
Right.
And you say, okay, container volume this. It's going to just calculate by what it's dosing. So it should be pretty exact.
Right.
But it's not, there's no sensor or anything into it for that. Okay. And then, so you'll see magnesium is doing its thing. just extra dosing there. There's one more thing I was gonna.
Are these pretty quiet?
Yeah, you can't hear them.
No, I can't hear it right now. That's why I asked.
If you were right next to it, you might hear the wheel turning. So you'll see, I just went into Alkalinity, and it's showing you how this doses at a time that the lights aren't on. And then all of them have, well, there's no schedule here, but it would all be in different times of the day, because if you add your Alkalinity and calcium too close together in time frame, like at the same time or within a few minutes of each other, they actually like bind together and like precipitate each other out. So you can't add on the same time. So this is taking care of all of that for you. So
nice.
Simple indeed. Put this one away. So, and you can get as nitty gritty with it as you want and like set your time, set how much, do it continuous, do a little bit here, a little bit there. So you have full functionality to really fine tune it.
Yeah.
But I think the way they have it set up, blocking off the different additives for times and dosing, so simple.
Yeah.
So simple. So
I did notice someone said that the Versas are relatively hard to find right now, and
They are.
that is very true, just as you guys know with just about anything. But hopefully that'll start easing up soon.
yeah, and the popularity of them, of course, will just availability. But when it's something that's that easy to program, configures with the rest of your EcoTech equipment,
Yeah.
which a lot of people run, it's going to be very, very popular.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
wanted to bring something up. Some people are mentioning that last week's bonus word didn't work, and that was because we had already previously used it once.
Oh.
So in social media, we provided an extra one, but we want to give it now just because they're mentioning it. So
Oh,
there
okay.
you go.
Okay.
We have 2 bonus words.
So guys, we have 2 bonus words for you today. One to replace last week's bonus word. So there you go. You can get 20 extra entries today. Starfire Glass and EcoTech. So make sure to note that down.
Very, very nice. Awesome. So I'm going to probably have some questions. We can get you some answers too about dosing, LX, whatever.
Sure, we'll start right out with this one. It's more of a comment, but
Okay.
no,
Nope. Ah.
If you guys haven't already, smash that like button. Helps us out tremendously.
well, yeah.
Hannah says, Rich and Jess, it's my son's 3rd birthday. He is watching with me today. Give Lucas a shout out. Oh, that's awesome.
Happy birthday, Lucas. Woo!
Awesome.
Yes.
My daughter's birthday is Saturday, so
Oh.
very close.
Wow.
She's turning 4.
Turning
so
4.
that's awesome.
Very good.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Lucas.
Joseph says, do you think weekly water changes could keep up with the different things that the corals are taking in?
It depends on how big of a tank, what percentage of water changes, what kind of corals and how many, and
Yeah.
the quality of your salt. So I mean,
Tests.
is it possible? Yes. A lot of times with smaller tanks, I do regular water changes versus any kind of dosing.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit harder to fine tune, and you go a couple extra milliliters of alkalinity in a small tank, and it could be a much higher jump. Whereas if you're going to do a smaller tank and had like a ton of LPS and SPS, you would have to dose something most likely. So there's a lot of variables in that question, but most of the time, probably not unless it's a small tank and you're doing a pretty good amount of water changes.
Yeah.
Not sure if you answered this one in that answer, but this is similar to it.
Saul says, should you adjust your dosers when you do water changes?
No, make sure the parameters that you keep your tank at is similar to the salt that you use, so that when you do a water change, it doesn't have any drastic effect on your aquarium. If for some reason you have to use a salt that's way off from what parameters you keep your tank at, I would suggest raising the levels in the mixed salt water
Yeah.
before you do the water change. So you don't ever want it to be like every time you do a water change, it completely disrupts your whole balance of dosing.
El Chavito says, will you guys dose trace elements?
No. I think it's a tough game to get into with doing trace elements because you don't really know which ones you need, and most trace elements are multi ones in a single bottle, and it's like dose this much for your aquarium, but you don't know if you actually need those. And trace elements can be deadly at higher levels. So you could be overdosing one, but not dosing enough of another, and it just comes out of balance. I think number one thing, use a really good salt.
Yeah.
Keep
They're
up
gonna
with
be
your
in it.
regular water changes. You know, a good salt's going to have a ton of micro and nutrients and trace elements and all that stuff that you need, usually in enough of a level. Granted, if you have a maxed out, full-blown, you know, all rock covered reef tank, yes, doing trace elements to a small amount may be beneficial.
Ed said, should the dosing lines be in a high flow area?
It doesn't have to be that high. I mean, well, you naturally have a good amount of water going through a sump.
Yeah.
So I mean, I consider that high flow enough pretty much anywhere in a sump that it goes, and it's just going to get taken with the water and mix.
Yeah.
It's never going to be. If your sump is so low flow that your additives just fall to the bottom, like you probably don't have it. Yeah, you don't have it dialed in correctly anyway.
Yeah.
So no, you should be good anywhere.
Thank you, Ed. Sawyer says, any good way to stir dosing liquids such as Fido or trace elements automatically?
Yeah. There are,
Womp womp.
You would basically have to get something like a Kalkwaster stir. They make them for Kalkwaster because calc settles whenever it's just sitting in the container, and it like stirs it every certain amount of time. But you're just gonna spend a lot more money to do it, but it's definitely doable. Another thing you could probably do would be maybe like put an air stone in it.
Yeah.
And then just have it real gently kind of churning it.
Right.
Would probably
That could
be
work.
something that would work.
Be a DIY thing.
Yeah.
Mike says, anyone got tips for a NYOS 160 skimmer setup? Won't stop overflowing after a week.
Okay, usually they don't have a break-in period that long. NYOS, I usually can dial in pretty quickly. So make sure that the water level valve is all the way to open. Also, you want to make sure that the spot it is in your sump is not more than like 8 inches of water. If the water level in your sump's too high, it'll never be able to, like, they have set recommendations. I think it's like between 6 and 8 inches for a NYOS for a water level. Another one people don't know is there's the little air intake, the smaller round one at the top, has these little turn buttons, little knobs.
Decrease.
If it's closed all the way, it can keep that water level higher. So turn those to usually let more air in, and it can drop it. So check those 3 things. Some skimmers do take longer than others to break in, but generally with NYOS, in like a day or 2, I'm running pretty good.
Cool. Thank you, Mike. Carrie says, what salt do you use in your tanks?
We use Tropic Marin,
Yep.
which is one of the things I said about all the trace elements. There's like 70-something trace and micro elements and stuff in there to like natural seawater. So high quality clean salt is very, very important.
Yep, for sure.
A lot of questions around water changes. So
Alright.
apologies if you already answered this one.
Gary says, if you implement an auto water change system, will those systems keep up with the benefit of a weekly, bi-weekly water change and keep parameters?
Yeah, so the idea between the automatic water changes is that it's continuously doing a water change on small amounts per day. So like say every 2 weeks you do a 30-gallon water change on a bigger tank or something. It's gonna, at that point, you will be looking at it's gonna like change 2 gallons a day for you.
Right.
Slowly. So in that aspect, if you're changing the same amount of water that you would in larger, less frequent water changes, is that it should be replacing everything for you. And you might find that you dose less than you would if you were doing bigger ones. But overall, it should keep the same evenness. It's just, you're not doing a water change. You're just letting the
Right.
machine do it for you without even thinking about it.
Nick says, how much water evaporation are you getting with the LX?
I don't know. I just throw water. I don't know. I just put water in
You
the
have an
ATO.
ATO. We just checked the level of the
Yeah, so
the
if you saw when we were showing the doser in the tubing, is there's a huge top-off chamber in there. So it's kind of, I just fill it, and throw a bucket in as I need. I should probably pay attention because I do not know.
How many times do you think if you don't
I don't
wait till
always-
it gets down?
I don't always fill it all the way high. Sometimes I just take a bucket or 2 over and fill it. Sometimes I'll fill it all the way. But I'd say on average, a tank this size, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 gallons a week.
At
I'd
least,
say
yeah.
probably around there. It's a good average. But yeah, I have to actually fill it all the way up and just let it go all the way down and see how long it takes it. Because it's like a 20-something gallon.
Yeah, something like that.
20-something gallon ATO reservoir on there, so it should last a while. All
Cool.
right. Good questions.
That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
We got some winners.
We're ready for a t-shirt.
All right.
We're giving away some stuff. The currency to win these prizes, as you guys know, is to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification, post in the comments, tell us what you're eating for lunch, etc.
Did anyone give their lunch ideas?
I
in
saw
here?
some people.
You did?
Hungry.
Yeah, someone said they ate
I
coffee.
think we're just hungry. They're ready for lunch.
Someone said coffee or something like that.
Oh,
Coffee for lunch.
breakfast and lunch of champions right there.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a winner for the Living Reef t-shirt, and winner is...
And Mr. Dad, whatever. That guy, 990. Congratulations, my friend.
That guy.
Email winners at
Congrats on the
waterboxaquariums.com. They'll get you
shirt.
hooked up with that. I apologize for butchering your name.
Mr.
Sometimes it's hard
Whatever.
to.
That YouTube
Well, it's
man.
it's because they're YouTube tags, so
Oh, I
it's not
know.
like I'm reading a name sometimes, and it's just kind of
Oh no, if a
hard.
hard one comes up there, I just stay silent until you read it. I was like, nope,
Yeah,
not.
I know, I
not
can
doing
tell.
it.
I can tell.
All right, and of course, so we have a $100 gift card. We got winner for that. Ready? All right, winner is gift card.
Boom! Oh, Hannah Chris, that's awesome.
Woo, congrats.
Looks like Lucas, right?
Yes, Lucas, that's a
Maybe
great,
Lucas.
yeah.
Lucas has got a nice little birthday present there.
All right.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Hannah and Lucas. Happy birthday again. Reach out to winners at waterboxaquariums.com. They'll get you all hooked up with your prize. So something that people have asked for a long time is for us to set up a refugium. And
Yes.
the LX is getting a refugium.
Yes.
So we're going to, next week.
I'm partial to it.
I
but-
know you are, but I think you're going to like it. It's going to be really pretty.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very beautiful refugium, but also useful. And this way also we can move our Mandarin that came from the 220 over, and you'll have plenty of pods and stuff. So that's going to be next week. We're going to go ahead and put a refugium in there and kind of give you a how-to and some guidelines for putting a refugium in your aquarium. So
Awesome.
it'll be a good one.
Cool.
See you next time.
See you guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, turn on those notifications, and for more information on this series, visit waterboxaquariums.com/huge.
Tune in live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to learn about how you can get more entries to our Reef LX 190.4 giveaway.
Plus, we're giving away $100 gift cards every episode, but you have to be with us here live to win.
Thanks for watching.
See you next week.